Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host, Darren, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in from Toronto, Canada, we have none other than Cozmic Cat on the show today. How you doing, Cosmic Cat?
What's good, everybody? Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's been a little while since we had you on the show. I was looking through our notes, our shows, past episodes, September 20th, 2022. I bet you there's been a lot that's been happening in the Cosmic Cat world, and I have seen your updated bio. You have been doing so much stuff, and it's such a great honor to catch back up with you again. We got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. So let's dive right into it. You know, your new release just came out on July 11th on HESHETHEY Records. Tell us
Yeah.
all about that. What's all about that track?
Well, HESHETHEY is a really cool label coming out of the UK. They do events all over the planet. So it's like an events brand, a lifestyle brand. They're political, they're fierce, they're very inclusive, and they support a lot of interesting artists. So it's a huge honor to be on that label. And the release is an artist based in Washington, D.C., and her name is Baby Wait. And the song is Expression. It's it's a kind of politically charged anthem of self-expression and being free to be who you are. And it came out in June, and then I got tapped to do the remix, which came out on the 11th. And yeah, it's been doing great. It's got some BBC spins. It's been doing the rounds, and I'm just really proud of it because it's kind of very techy and hard. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, and yeah, it was a good experiment and a good experience. So
Now,
yeah,
and your bio's pretty long. You got a lot of history, a lot of stuff going on. It's all
I
good.
just
That's
like
good
to write.
stuff.
It's just all blah blah blah.
No, it's all good stuff. But did you start out as a DJ and then moved into production, or did
Oh
you?
hell yeah!
Yeah.
I think like 90% of people that I know, come from the DJ world, and we get to the point where we're like, hey, we're playing all these other people's records, and we kind of know what a good record sounds like, and then you get this idea of what you would like to create musically, and then you kind of start on that journey. I know there's definitely a couple of producers who got big and then they had to learn how to DJ real quick to like go on tour. But yeah, most of my world is hobby or pro DJs that just want to start in the production world. So they get
It's
involved.
funny you mentioned that because I just did an interview with York last week, and he was saying, I was a producer back scene. I did not want to be. I was not a DJ. I was not in the forefront of that, and he produced under a lot of aliases too. And
Yeah.
this is back in vinyl days, so he'd get a credit on albums, but they wouldn't know it was York because he didn't want to be hit up by everyone in the industry knowing that he was a producer. So he'd get his credit on albums under all these ghosts, these names, ghost names. I don't know, aliases.
Yeah, aliases. Yeah.
But then he ended
Yeah.
up, learning how to DJ and get into that. If you had to pick one of your productions as your most favorite one, which one would that be? And is there a thought behind why it would be your favorite?
It would be, oh, it's really hard because sentimentally, there's this track called Make Love, which I just, every time I hear it, I'm just like, wow, I'm just overwhelmed that I made that. It gets me emotional because it's to me it's a beautiful song, and I'm very proud of it. But then there's another track called The Fixer, which I am very proud of. I made it like years and years ago, kind of shelved it. It was just like kind of a song that I just never finished, and then I decided to finish it in 2021, and it got signed by He She They again, and it did like really well, like almost 500,000 streams, and played everywhere. Got licensed for ads and in an app, and in a Ballantine whiskey ad, and different campaigns, and it really did well, and so it made me kind of in an ego sense, it's my favorite because people were like, "Whoa, this track's doing so well," and for me, music isn't a competition. Like honestly, truly, we're not athletes. We're just expressing ourselves, and you can say my shit sucks, or you can say my shit's amazing, and like it's all good. I don't care. It's like my shit. It's self-expression. But there is a side that when people are like really excited about it and they come together and it does well, that you get on board with that excitement, and it feels good.
It's always awesome on the show. Now, I don't send my questions out. No guests know what I'm going to ask them when they come on. It's so
Live.
awesome.
It's
But
live, baby.
I love it when it's almost if they already are prefacing to a question I'm going to ask down the line. But here it must be psychic because the next question I was going to ask
Cosmic, my
was right
friend.
into what you
It's
just
cosmic.
said right there was I was going to ask you, do you make music with the intention of making a popular record or do you make it solely to satisfy yourself and success is kind of a nice side effect?
Oh, it's 100%. It's 100% my just creating. And I have to say, like, as a professional DJ, I always have that ear for, like, it's not just about me, right? When you're a DJ and you do it for a living, you're connecting and having a conversation with the crowd, right? So it's not pandering at all. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you are meeting them where they are and you are talking to them at the level that they can understand, right?
Mhm,
So there's crowds you can go deep and hard, and crowds you gotta ease back and drop some vocals. You get what I'm saying?
mhm.
So with production, I'm always like 100% just throw it out there. It's my art, it's what's coming out of me. And then sometimes I'll get some ear candy in there that I'm like, oh, that sounds like, I think people would like that, and I'll find myself saying, like, I think other people would like that, even though it's really just about me. It doesn't pay my bills. No one's telling me to make it a certain way. So I can do whatever the hell I want. So I would
And that's something that was interesting. We were talking a little bit pre-show about branding yourself, branding your image, making
definitely.
yourself. I don't want to say making yourself marketable, but having that freedom to do what you want to do, but controlling your brand. Having your own
Yeah,
website, having your own distribution platform, not resting on third party companies to promote yourself with all the
huge.
other things that are going on. I sometimes tell this to people that they say, well, you're not big because you don't have any videos up on YouTube or you're not getting YouTube down. So like, because I don't use YouTube as my platform.
I'm
I'll
not
put
even on
videos.
YouTube.
I put videos, but I don't believe in a platform. I'm going to send somebody to it, and then it's going to pop up 9 other artists or 9 other videos that have nothing to
Yeah,
do with me and take them away from me you
this is
know
true.
and it's like why not have a one-stop I can't put a store in Facebook or a store in Instagram. I can post that I have stuff in my store, but I can't make a store there.
Yeah, I
And those are
totally
supposed to be
agree.
social tools to help populate people to get back to your branding and everything. So anyways, I just really I was I'm very impressed with your level of knowledge. Even talking about the email lists, it was awesome. It's just tools in the shed to help and reach, and your followers are going to appreciate when you put stuff out, and that ear candy that comes back, is definitely helpful and beneficial. Um,
I
do you
agree,
some
man.
do
Yeah.
you sometimes get fed up with making and playing music, and how do you deal with that?
I think that's a really valid question. Sometimes it happens um, in two ways. Like one way with DJing, I just get burnt out. I don't care what I'm playing. I don't care who's in front of me, and I don't even did I play that song already? I don't care. I don't know. Like I'm so bored with all this shit. It all sounds the same, right? So you really have to make an effort to combat that. I make an effort to listen to a million DJs sets, wherever on SoundCloud, on track lists, on whatever, and get inspired by what they're playing and what they're doing, and throw in like more music that really excites me. And so that's how I keep fresh, keep finding new music, right? Because if trots around your same playlist, you get so burnt out. Like it's unbelievable how you can just shut down from the experience and just be like, I am a robot Spotify playlist, you know. And then the other one is with production. Sometimes you just have no ideas. You just don't have any inspiration, and you just don't. It's not exciting to sit there and go through kicks and snares and figure out how to make a song. So again, you got to balance, take a break, you know, travel, go to the park, touch some grass, talk to friends, do something completely unrelated to production. And sometimes I'll be like reading a graffiti book or something, and I'll see this like dope throw up, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm so inspired. And then I'll go into the studio and do something because the inspiration came from something completely not music related. So you have to really expand and not get too narrow because that makes it burnout zone.
And do you ever feel, do you solely produce your own tracks, or do you work and collaborate with others to produce tracks? Obviously, I think that we know the answer to that, but do you find that that helps to keep the fire going, or keep the kindling burning, to make sure when something hits, it's like, I know somebody, and this is going to work perfect with that because I saw,
Yeah,
like you said, you saw graffiti, and it's like, oh
yeah,
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 I want to hit them up right now, and I got this great idea. Is that one of the
yeah.
ways that can help rekindle that, not
I,
slack, what's it, that stagnation?
like,
Is
I
the word
think people are a great source of inspiration and energy, and I love people, and that's why I'm a DJ, because I like to have that feedback with people and feel that energy in real life. And so, yeah, that's a great way to do it. For me, I am a solo cat. Like, even in high school, I was doing track and field and things that weren't team sports, karate. Like, I like to do it myself. So I was like, I think um, I do like that I can control the product from beginning to the end and be like, that's my product. It
Mhm.
is exciting to collaborate. And what I like a lot is remixes, because
Okay.
they have a kind of a construct. Like, you're given the original track and you can do whatever you want, but there's the original track. And also, the label or the artist probably has a deadline in mind. So then you have this deadline, and you have someone accountable for the art. Like, they're waiting for it, they want to hear it, you want them to be impressed, kind of, like. So you kind of work with them always in the back of your mind, and to me that's a great inspiration, because I'll be like, oh, who is this artist, find out all about them. What are the sounds they used? Why? How can I take their sounds and tell a story that's a cosmic story, but still relates to the song? 'Cause I don't just want to make another track. You know, that wouldn't be the brief of a remix. Is to use elements from the original in a
And
creative way.
it kind of spawned two questions. I want to go back to when you said from inspiration, you go out and listen to other sets, listen to other tracks, listen to music, listen to stuff. What top three podcasts or radio shows would you say are your kind of go to for that? If they're, I know this always gets me in. I always feel like I'm going to get in trouble when somebody asks me what my favorite episode of the DJ sessions is, or what my favorite exclusive mix is. I'm like, oh, I don't want to burn any bridges. But
Yeah,
there was this one time, you know, you know. So I mean, but
like
I always like to know where artists are getting their musical inspiration from. Who do they look to? It's like, damn, they're always dropping bangers, or damn, they're always releasing. Like,
yeah.
let's sum this up and say, instead of just podcasts and streams or shows, podcast streams, labels. Do you like? Let's just wrap that up, and
All
you can
right.
go
Well,
one,
first
two,
of
or
all,
three.
we can get this out of the way right away, because I do not listen to podcasts.
Okay, there we
So,
go.
so in terms of streams, I would say I'm really not really enamored with the streaming industry. So I'm more like, I'll go in a rabbit hole on Bandcamp. I'll go in a rabbit hole on SoundCloud, and I will go in a rabbit hole on YouTube. And also, this is gonna sound really weird, but Instagram, when I'm scrolling, I'll see like, oh, there was like, a set from Sonar, or a set from this snow bombing festival, and I'll watch a clip, but then I'll be like, ah, there was some dope artists on this clip. So then I'll go to the YouTube, or I'll go to the track list, 1001 track list, and I'll find all the artists that were performing there, and I'll watch like the whole show, and I'll just be like watching festivals and concerts virtually, and going through different artists that I will be like following. And it's really, really varied from you know follow more, and kind of people like FKA Twigs, and like kind of left field people, and then like James Hype and DJ Snake and super mainstream EDM people, and right down to the local people. Like, I'll just check out like even Scratch Bastard, and like, what are they cutting up, and what is their routines looking like. Like, I will literally get inspiration from everything. Just, I'm like a wide open book, and it could be even like pop, country. Not so much country, but pop is the country right now. But like a lot of pop, I'll be like, oh, Dua Lipa's new song, and there's influences of this, and then there's remixes from the Blessed Madonna, or like Jada G. Like, what are they doing? Like just defected Croatia streams, or like Beatport live streams, just all of it. I'm just constantly consuming music from different, not so much totally different genres, mostly electronica and house, but very open. And so I can't say there's a top three because I do this. This is a full time job to have my sets filled with interesting bangers and my own productions and all that. Like, it's not like I just wake up and take the Beatport top 10 and go to my gig. We don't do that.
It's funny you make mention that because obviously the barrier to entry for DJing has gotten almost nil. I mean, back when it was vinyl, you had to have your techniques, you had to have your vinyl. There was only so many pressings of that vinyl around the world. And if you had that in your ammo, your box, whether you slipped $20 to the dude at the record store to say, "Hey, hold your Thursday releases for me so I can have first round pick," and put those in your crate, there you go. But
Yep.
nowadays, the barrier to entry, I wouldn't. I'm going to say the
Zero.
barrier to entry is zero. And then we spoke a little bit about this about starting as a DJ, but then moving into production. And I think as I've talked with done hundreds and hundreds of interviews, it's crucial for that DJ to not just be a DJ anymore, but actually produce, or at least have an understanding and ear of producing to know what the sound is like when they're performing as well and performing other tracks. They can read and say, "Oh yeah," and see how that works out. Or if they are producing, maybe use the audience as a test bed too, to see how their tracks performing out in public, or what it maybe sounds like in a 150 person room club. If they're aiming for that, that space, or if they're trying to be big name, I'm in front of 50,000 people, yeah, and all that fun stuff. It's kind of really key. But something you mentioned, I just remembered. I got to get back on my 1001 track list submissions. Thank you for bringing that up. Really awesome partnership. I think that's one of the best, one of the most coolest sites out there. Basic as basic it can get. No fluff and dander, but really a great resource and tool for people to find stuff. What would you say would be one of the best decisions you've made in favor of your artist career? Obviously, starting as a DJ, moving into production, but then obviously you're establishing this brand as Cozmic Cat as well. And there's a lot of businesses, a lot of stuff people don't see that you and I do in the back end. It's not just I put a flash drive in and here I go, or I sit behind a computer with my Ableton and a song pops out in 5 minutes, and yay, I'm ready to go. What's been the best business decision in your career? Maybe curbing bad habits or management. What would you say that would be?
I think the biggest thing that was a game changer was investing in myself as a business.
Mhm.
Visual, like, it's a mindset shift of seeing yourself as an artist entrepreneur. And I actually started doing a lot of professional development. And I know there's like people that are just lined up waiting to take your money and like, "Oh, I'll make you famous and I'll teach you these things and blah, blah, blah." But I'm not talking about that. There's some legit courses out there or programs or cohorts you can go through and learn about grants, about marketing, about bios, about agents, about sync and royalties, about production. And I did those and I paid for those. And they were like, vetted from friends and people that I respected that did them. Whether it's the Tool Room production or whether it's Canadian Music Incubator, like, these are things that I do and I constantly do that keeps me um, in the world of being an artist entrepreneur, and not just an artist that becomes like chasing a big label to make them famous, or praying for like some booking agent to come down from the stars and like put them in front of Tomorrowland audiences. It's a business, and I'm very lucky to have that kind of almost equal passion for the business and the art, because like you were saying, everyone can be a DJ. Someone could take the other day I was saying this because I lost my USB at a club and I looked high and low and it's gone, but whatever, I have backups. But I was just, someone said to me like, "Oh, someone has all your tracks now," and I was thinking like, it doesn't matter what you play. I could take someone's USB and play all their tracks and it would be 100% completely different set. It's not what you play, it's how you play it, the story you're telling, what people believe about you when you're up there having that conversation, what energy you're giving out, what you stand for, what mission you're on as a DJ, like how you're pulling people in to like come to your next gig because they like something about you. What did they like about you? Your tracks, everyone has my tracks except for maybe the ones that I made, and even then they could play them too.
Play them too.
So right? So I
You
think
know,
like, the biggest change was me, registering myself as a business, taking professional development extremely seriously, and instilling all those habits that you learn at those kind of places, like 2 hours production and practicing your DJ stuff, and like networking with like authenticity behind it, and getting your branding and your bio sorted, and being consistent and punctual, and sending your invoices, and sending out your pitches, and talking to your fans and posting on Instagram, all that shit, you
yeah,
know
yeah.
it just, someone has to tell you this is what needs to be done, and then you can be like, oh, I can do that, I'll just write the list and do it.
I can relate to that 100% because when I started in this business 25 years ago, I mean, I was in it before that, but really had to get professional about it. My whole reason of going to college was to learn how to run my own company, and I wanted to run a company and understand. So I fast tracked for a business degree, 4-year business degree and business admin and all that fun stuff. And, you know, it's so much. Like I was even telling my friend today who's starting their own business, it's like, I got a huge repertoire I got a bunch of tools in my toolbox that most people don't know that I get the opportunity to research and have. And, she's getting ready to start sort of an online program. I'm like, hey, you know what I can do? Do you know I can transcribe your episodes? I can have
Yeah,
them closed captioned and I can distribute them and make them pay-per-view for you.
like things like that,
And it's like,
so important.
most people don't know that. Most people would just go, I'm just going to throw my video to YouTube and let it sit there and be for free and let YouTube make millions of dollars off commercial ads off my brand and never know how to password protect it, basically, or put it up for a on-demand video and earn revenue from that. And it's like, I'd rather tell somebody how to do it and they have 50 people pay $2 a month than put it on YouTube and have, 1,000 people watch it for free and they're not getting anything
This
out
is
of
so
that.
true. And
You
I think
know,
like what people forget, like sometimes people think, oh shit, I have to run out and do all these courses and learn all these things. It's like, no, you don't. This is just teaching you like what the world is out there, all the snippets, so that you don't get, eaten by the sharks. And also that you can have some knowledge when you're in a room with people that really know what they're doing. And like one of the things I love doing is hiring freelancers. Like
yeah,
I don't like some of the admin. So I hired recently somebody to go and do a spreadsheet of all the festivals and places that related to my sound that I could then pitch. I didn't want to go and spend days looking for these places. So I paid someone to do it. I
yeah,
paid someone to set this up, or I paid someone to go find that. Like I'm not talking about paying someone to make your music.
yeah.
I'm talking about, and I know big cats do that. They really do. They pay people to pick their DJ sets and make their tracks. But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to surround yourself with people who know a bit more, and maybe break them off a piece, because
Mhm.
that's the model of the future. It's not about getting it to the point where you know everything. It's about hiring freelancers that can help you for a bit, get on the bus, and then they get off the bus, and you're always driving the bus.
I could not agree with that statement more because when I look at it, all the hats that I wear, and then I did this about a month and a half ago. I went, how many people do I really have that I reach out to for different projects? And it was like, I have a web developer, I have a website speed optimizer, I have a graphic designer, I have a coder for my Roku, Fire, and Amazon TV, Apple TV apps. I have an app manager. All these different positions that you're right. It piecemeals out, and I might not need that speed person, but once every 3 months to go, hey, take it to the car and tune up my car, and I
Yeah,
pay him
you don't
fifty
need to
bucks, and it's
know
like
all the
boom, my
things they
speed's getting
know.
A+ ratings,
Yes.
or I have a code problem and I don't code. I can be dangerous with this. A graphic designer. I'm not a graphic designer, and I don't use AI for that crap. Not that I understand why people could. I mean, I'm gonna probably take my own logo and say, hey, here's my logo and AI. Let's see what you can do. I'm not trying to put anyone out of work, but if I need something originally created, I'm gonna go to Fiverr and say, hey, $50. What can you generate for me? And they're probably using AI and send it back to me anyways.
I
But
mean,
I mean,
I don't know, but regardless,
I get it, but it's
talking
helping
about AI,
out.
I don't think AI is going to take people's jobs. It's people who know how to use AI better than you will take your job.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, even I had a virtual assistant, two virtual assistants. I had interns. I had a person over in England that would do my PR and outreach. When I put it all down, I had like 15 people, and people will never see that. what's going on when you're developing a brand and all the back end stuff. So it's very I think that's a great, first of all, start with the first process, like you said, and start educating yourself. The tools and resources are out there. I mean, I've always
Yeah,
said
they are. We're blessed because,
yeah,
like, recently, I had an experience where, a label approached me and they really wanted to sign, and they were cool and they're actually through friends of mine. So I thought, okay, they're legit. This is going to be really easy, really cool. But then, and they liked the song, and I'd want to get the song signed, and it was very exciting. But then I got the contract, and just, I did send it to like a mentor person of mine who used to work at Sony. And also because I've worked with so many different labels, big and small, I have some experience with reading contracts. And I just was like, oh, we got to run, not walk away from this contract. It is the worst contract of life. And I think maybe they just downloaded it from the internet and they just went like super heavy, like, you're going to do this and we're going to take that and we're going to. And I was like, oh, honey, like, no, that's not happening with any song. Like, I'd rather just let it sit on my hard drive than get this predatory thing in motion. Like, no. So, and there was like some surprise on the other end. They were like, oh, all the other artists signed it. I'm like, well, I'm not all the other artists. And I didn't want to take the time to revise it with them or anything. It's just like, nah, you get to the point where you're like, this is why I educate myself so that I cannot get caught up in traps that would, just because my ego wants to sign this record, I wouldn't get caught up in a very, very unfair and like artist last kind of contract, you know?
yeah.
So,
Funny you bring up contracting, guys. I'm my friend who's known me for 30 plus years in this business. I'm the guy he calls when it says, when it comes to contracts, we call Darren.
yeah,
And that's what I love doing that.
yeah,
I mean, I love going, okay, let's look at this. Okay, pay. I mean, I have 7 contracts alone when I bring an artist, a resident DJ on my show. It's like you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things in writing. So we're both clear on what we know what's going on.
it's very
I'm not
smart.
asking for your firstborn. I'm not asking you to draw blood. It's just like, hey, this is the basic stuff that is boilerplate in any media business. I'm going to have a non disclosure. Don't tell people my secrets. I'm going to have a personal release. So you can't come back and say, I never gave you permission to use me. I have a service agreement and have payouts of how it all works. In some industries that can be considered overly, a person who doesn't know, that can be very daunting because they're like, oh my God, I'm getting hit with legal paperwork for the first time. But at
Or
least
they don't read anything and they just sign everything
sign
because
it.
they just want to do the thing. They just want
Yeah.
to, they just see stars in their eyes and they think,
And unfortunately for a lot of up and coming DJs, if I knew DJs in our local market and they came to a local promoter and said, okay, great, you want to sign me, you want me to play, and they're like, okay, we'll give you $100 for the show. Great. But if they came to them with a piece of paper and said, okay, here's my contract, I need to sign, and I need your company and maybe your UBI number and all that, and they're like, oh, screw you, we'll just go get some other hungry kid to
right.
play here, and maybe
Yeah.
we'll pay them, maybe we won't. I tell that person with a piece of paper, run, do not walk, and don't ever
Yeah.
work with
It's important. It's important to take yourself very seriously, and you are where it all starts and where it all ends. Like,
yeah.
it's your business. And I used to be like, I'm an artist. Business people are cheesy. Marketing is cheesy and lame and corny. And now I embrace the fact that I get to control my own brand, and that I get to connect authentically with people on, like, my preferred platform, which is Instagram.
Hmm.
And I get to, or talk to them on my newsletter. Or, like, I get to do this stuff, and I actually really enjoy it.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned record labels earlier,
Hmm.
in talking about doing stuff. What's the most important thing that record labels should be doing for their artists? And on the collective whole out there, are they doing a good job with that?
Well, I can't speak for the collective whole, but for me, the only thing the record label is doing is kind of like expanding your brand. It's a mutual kind of agreement where they're looking at you like you're a cool artist and you're going to make them, like, you know, have better music on their roster and like have a bigger profile because you're cool and up and coming and all these things. And you're looking at them like they're going to show you to their audience, which is hopefully larger than yours, and they're going to handle the business and they're going to shop it to all these different places that they have access to and that you don't. So it's got to be symbiotic, right? So I think the most important thing is that they are hustlers and marketers, because really, you can sign up to DistroKid and put your stuff on Beatport and put your stuff on Spotify. That's a no-brainer. You could also pay a couple $100 to put it on in-flight and get into the DJ's mailboxes. What it really is a relationship between a brand that you hopefully love and that they hopefully love you, and it's kind of this like kind of a collab. You know what I mean? Like where it's like-minded people doing, like an Adidas collab where you're like, oh yeah, like Stella McCartney and Adidas. Like I get it, and it brings both brands to different audiences.
Hmm.
So I think you have to look at what is the label doing. It's not just, oh, I want to get it on this label and they're going to make me famous. It's like, what are they, where are the artists they signed in a year? Like, what are they doing actively? How much do they promote each release? Like, what do they do to promote? What's their online voice like?
Hmm.
What do they stand for as a label? Like, are they just crunching out the commercial sound and everyone's just like, if you can imitate that sound, you get on that label and you're next in line? Or do they have something a bit deeper
Hmm.
that reflects your ethos or the way that you feel about music?
Hmm.
Like, I think people just get it twisted. They chase big labels, or they just think like any label is good because they're going to get it out. Like, I can do a lot more than a lot of these tiny labels can do just as a human being with my Instagram followers and my mailing list and the DJs that I know and the gigs that I have.
Hmm.
So I want someone that's like, really interesting and like something I can sink my teeth into. Just like, yeah, like I co-sign these guys. They're doing really cool thing. Their roster is cool, and they're also pushing their artists and believe in their artists, and they like different sounds, and I like what they like, and they like me. So I think it's got to be more mutual.
Yeah, you can kind of see that. I do a lot of outreach, obviously, sending a lot of invites out for people to be guests on the series. And when I come across, I'll come across one artist, but then I'll find out who they're represented by and their artist management roster, and then look at all the other artists and say, hey, we'd love to have yours, but you can kind of see a theme to that roster going
You
on.
should
Or
be
when you go
able
to a
to.
label, you see a theme to that, and one of the things I was talking a little bit about before pre-show, we're really excited to be launching here is our music section on the site, because I've always tried to be with the DJ section of the platform that's not one specific genre, one specific crew, one specific sound. It's the entire genre of DJ music, and we're expanding into even hip hop because turntablism has such a culture there, obviously.
Hmm.
But having people, it's not going to be like, I don't mind putting, like, I'll put happy hardcore up next to a house track. We're not
Yeah,
trying
I
to
think like that's
say
cool. Like I
what's
like
my
that
favorite.
vibe. There just has to be a theme. Like, why are you doing that? Are
Yeah.
you is because you're championing the art form, or because you're bringing up and comers, or because you're like, is it from a certain era? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it has to
Mhm.
make sense to me.
Yeah, I'm a huge foodie, so my idea of the all you can eat buffet kind of goes into a lot of stuff that I do, and because people be like, I mean, I could have just pigeonholed the site and said, oh, we're the DJ sessions, we feature mixes from DJs, and that's it, and really tweaked on that site and had to be a 5-page site. But you go to our site, it's a whole slew of things. It's a
Yeah.
brand, it's like, come check out what we got. And it's include everybody can be included, is
Hmm.
and it's not like, oh, we only do house music, we only do trance music, we only do techno music, we only do drum and bass. Let's get it all. Let's go to the buffet, and if somebody's there, my thing that would be cool is if somebody came to the site and maybe they were a pure house ad and they're like, I never thought about it. Let me listen to some of this drum and bass. Whoa, I'm all into drum and bass now. Or
Yeah, like 1001 track lists. Like you can go there and you can see like YouTube
yeah,
sets or like, genres and most rated and what
yeah,
or venues or countries or artists, and you really can go down the rabbit hole of many different kinds of music. And
yeah.
it's quite refreshing because you'll hear like hip hop and you'll hear trap and then you'll hear drum and bass and then you'll hear happy like or UK everything.
Hmm. It's that's such a great resource for a site. I think a great tool if artists are looking for sounds or following what's going on or knowing what's being out there, what the audience is listening to as well is awesome. Speaking about websites and going into a little bit of the technology behind all this stuff that runs, technology does move very fast in DJ producer land. And if you could think of something that's not on the market today, but in your vision, that could be something really awesome for the future of the industry. what do you think that product or that software or that object or something like that would be if you had say Cosmic Cat's like, I'm at the drawing board and I'm going to create this and this needs to be there? Is there something that you've been like, oh, I wish this was there and it's not?
I think there's two things. Like one thing for the DJ with venues, I wish it was a bit more like I understand why it's not. It's a bit gatekept, but I wish it was a bit more transparent, like how to reach certain people who are looking for artists. And so I wish there was kind of like a place online or somewhere in the universe where you could submit stuff to different places that you would want to play and that are actively looking, like kind of a meetup dating site for DJs and venues and festivals and DJs. And I think it's very
A
gatekeep.
DJ Tinder.
Exactly. Where it's like, it's gate kept right now, right? Because I guess they don't want to be inundated with
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yahoo.
yeah.
But if they're looking and there's criteria and you can upload like Label Radar, right? So Label Radar is just like submit your tracks and we'll farm it out to all these labels and you pay us a fee and la 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 la. I don't know about the fee structure or how that would work, but it would just be nice to like not have this like impossible barrier sometimes between you and the place where you want to like maybe get booked. It would be cool if they were just like, look, we're not looking right now, or we don't like your sound, or you're not big enough. But to never know because you can never reach them kind of sucks. And I think the other thing that would be cool is that there was a place where you could upload a track that's not finished and other people could like work on the track and it would all have to be, copywritten and all this thing, right? And it's not AI, it was real human beings. But I think it'd be really cool, like a collaborative, maybe there is such a thing, but a collaborative meeting place, again, a Tinder for producers, where you kind of upload what you have and then people can add to it, or they can say I'm just going to add some drum tweaks, or they can say I'm going to drop vocals on this section, and then it could just be this wild thing that gets like open source code almost, where it just keeps growing into something like presumably better and better and better. But like, who knows who contributed, and who knows, at the end it's just like you were part of this huge project and it's really cool, and then somehow everybody gets paid and somehow
Well,
it's really
no,
good.
that's an awesome concept because with stems being able to do that, you
Yeah,
could easily put something up there.
easily.
Um, but I wonder if you could make it like a Google in the cloud doc, like you said. But you could
Like that.
like once changes are made, you could say, okay, we're gonna maybe even a voting system that locks the changes in at certain day. Like, hey,
That's so cool.
you
I
got
love
two
that.
days or 3 days to lock in, and once it's locked, that's in there, and it could
That's
be
it.
voted on to be locked.
But you can
That'd
keep
be
changing other
dope.
things. Yeah, because the thing is, I do that with
Oh,
people, right? So if I'm like, oh, I'll have like a few producers that I'd be like, oh, I'm really stuck on this thing. And they'd be like, sure, like send me the thing and I'll work on it. Here's my ideas. And I can say yay or nay. But to have it on a global scale, and you could be producing with someone in like Iceland or India or like,
yeah.
Mauritius, I think it'd be pretty cool, like to have worked on a track with
Yeah,
vocals from this person that you never heard of. And so those are my two entries into like fantasy concepts that
that's dope.
may or
No, I
may
mean,
not
I
be
like you
already
did
going.
mention with the nightclub, the venue submission type thing, or even a promoter submission type thing. I'm like, you know, but again, they'd be inundated with so many applications because everyone thinks
I
they're
think
great.
this is really important
But
because I hear like a lot of club owners saying like I would love to book more like women or more trans people or more people of color, but I just don't know where to find them. And it's like, stop. Are they really hard to reach? Or are you just only like looking at what's in front of you, which is usually the white guy, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe I know there's a lot of databases, but then you still have to go to the database and listen to everything. And I just wish there was a way where people could be like, you know what? It's YouTube, like a video, because I like video, right? And you can see like my main selling point is my energy when I perform. So if they could see somebody performing and be like, I want this person in my club, I like their sound, I like their vibe, I like what they bring, boom, they would be less likely to be like, I just don't know anybody cool. You know what I mean? Because that's what I hear
okay,
so much. They're
you
just like they're saying, I don't have time to do all the extra work it takes to dig deeper to find up and coming artists or find someone that's different than the 10 people we already have on the roster that we've been using for the last 10 years,
sorry, I'm not. I'm kind of writing your idea down.
You like that, right?
No,
And
no,
again,
it's a basic. I just thought about it. With everyone that comes on the show, right now we're upgrading our site, and I'm actually now we're this episode will be transcribed, so we'll have a whole dictation of everything we've said. Two, I'm now making show notes with titles and short summaries and
You
bullet
heard
point
it here
talking points
first.
everywhere here first. You heard it here first, so it's gonna be online. I'll give you credit where credit's due, all that stuff. And then I so on my show it has a show notes tab. It has an about the episode, the artist tab with your bio and everything on it. Then it has the transcription tab, and then I'm closed captioning shows. You'll see where all this is going. I could have another tab built, and in my request form, when I request somebody to come play on the show, I can say, put your booking information here and fill out this other form.
For sure.
Copy and paste that into the site. So now it's a new booking tab. If you like
Love
this
it.
artist you saw on the show, here you go. And then I could tap it into your direct email. So I'm not trying to be a booking agent. I don't want to be an agent, but I could tap it into your email. So when somebody fills out that form, it goes boop and sends it right
It's
over to you. And you
brilliant
say, you got a
because
booking request off the DJ sessions,
I would love that. I think that's brilliant because I think a lot of people, if they're watching the DJ sessions, they're like, "Yo, that DJ looks cool," and like they're doing things like, but then and I have to go find them on their website, blah blah blah. But if they're already on the site, it's like you can never have your brand in too many places. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know some people say like, "Oh, be mysterious and all this shit." I'm like, I'm 0% mysterious. I'm up in your face. I'm like, look at my shit. I'm on a
Yeah.
mission. I'm spreading the joy. Like, jump on board. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, because like I said, when you look at we're coupling with the dang it. I'm see, new stuff always happening to the DJs. But no, I'll totally give you credit on that. Maybe if we could I'm not about making a dollar a dime off everything, but if there's a way to make a dime or penny off it, I'll make sure you get a cut.
Hey man, if it elevates the collective
Yeah.
experience with DJs getting booked and the right DJs in the right place, I think it's really cool because it's skewed right now. We all know that. There's like a triangle and we just kind of it's kind of like when we live, we just go to this 5 block radius. We just shop at the same place. We just do the same thing. And the bookers are the same. They book the same people. They book what they see being booked, the big people or the people that are constantly getting the same things. And it's just like, it takes a bit of effort to like go meet new people, go listen to new artists, go take a chance on an opening set for someone that you
Mhm.
don't know. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm very privileged because I've played a lot of cool clubs and people have seen me like close and open and headline and they've seen and they've heard and like so I get a lot of bookings. But I remember before people gave me a chance, I felt like how am I going to get a chance? How am I going to get in here? Like there's always the same headliners, there's always the same openers. Like how do I get in?
I literally just put a post on Meta out there the other day just as an experiment because I'm going to create a spreadsheet for my local market just as an experiment to say, here's our venues that we have. I'm not trying to, at this point, I don't want to say I don't care. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I'm not trying to be a bad guy. I'm not trying to point out the obvious. I'm not trying to call anyone out, but it's like, look, this is used as a data point to show as a DJ here, why aren't you getting any bookings? Well, you can't. There's not enough slots. Two, if you get an opening slot, you're playing this because there's not enough opportunity because you got to create yourself to elevate yourself. You can't just be, hey, I got a DJ kit at home. I play in my bedroom and now I want to play a club.
And this is the entitlement that we're faced with today.
Yeah.
Like for me, if there's not enough bookings, I will throw a Cosmic Love party. And I will hire a couple DJs, one opening and one closing, and I will headline my own party. And you know what? Sometimes I go $500 in the hole. Sometimes I make $500. Sometimes I make more than $500. Sometimes I break even. Doesn't matter. At least I've got something to yell and scream about online, and I've got things happening in my career, and I'm meeting new fans, and I'm just like meeting it's like all going up, 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 up. You
Yeah.
can't wait. You can't wait to get signed. You can't wait to get a gig.
And I have DJs that say, look, I played the circuit in the local club scene. I've been knocking on the doors. I've been going to their shows. I've been showing them. I've handed them mixes. I know they didn't listen to it. I get no feedback. And then after 2 years of doing all that, they're burnt out and going, I can't get anywhere. And they're not like flying to say they're in Seattle, flying to San Francisco or flying to LA or going to New York. They're trying to do this in their local hometown and they're just not getting booked. Or when they finally do, they're getting that opening slot at 10 o'clock when doors open.
That's
Granted,
what
you're
you
here.
get, though. That's what you get.
Yeah.
That's what people get. So
Yeah.
there's no. I always say there's no. It's kind of like in acting. There's no small roles, only small actors. There's
Yeah.
no shitty slot time. There's only like a shitty DJ or not, right? Because
Hmm.
I've opened where they're still bleaching the floor and the lights are on and they're unpacking the sound gear. They're crawling over you and like nobody's fucking there. I've been there. I'm still there. And then I've been at like where it's absolutely peak time and they're like, you're like a fucking celebrity and like, no one cares about the openers. It's just about you. So I've been there too. So you can't get to Z without doing ABC.
True, 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 true. Absolutely. And speaking about gigs and some of the past gigs you've been on, and let's get into the past gigs and what you've been up to. Say the last 6 months. What's it been like in the life for Cosmic Cat? And then we'll go looking for what the next 6 months are going to be.
Well, I'd say the biggest thing that was on my calendar was the opening set, the opening weekend for Electric Island, and I got to play before Sosa and Mochak at Electric Island down at Fort York in Toronto, and it was really big. It was really big because like about halfway through my set, they came up to me and it was like early, like 4 to 5:30, and so most people don't really get in there until 6. You know what I mean? On local opener, no big deal, but it was still extremely exciting. But then they said, "Oh, Sosa's flight is delayed. Can you keep playing?" And I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" So I got to play into that sweet spot where everybody came from the other stages, and there was like 5,000 people, and I really got to throw it down, and that was like a big deal for me because usually the local opener plays for their 50 friends and then goes home or watches the rest, but this was like a moment. It was like it was a moment. So that was really exciting. Electric Island is just one of the best festivals in Canada, if not the best, for house music. So I was honored to be back because I was there in 2022, and this was coming back in 2025 was like big. It was really exciting.
Now, is it
uh,
actually held on an island? You'll have to give our
Well, it
viewers a
started
little
on
bit.
the island, but then it outgrew the Toronto Island. So then it moved to Ontario Place, and then that's under construction. So then it moved to under the Gardiner Expressway, which is like a big highway, and it's underneath it, and it was in a cool area. And now they've moved it again for like another. So it will probably keep moving because it keeps growing. So
Okay.
it's outgrowing its spaces.
Awesome. And so looking at some upcoming gigs that you have,
Yeah.
what are you excited? What's on your radar right now that says, I
Um,
can't believe I'm doing this
Well,
year?
okay, to be really honest, there's a gig coming up that I cannot talk about, and I just wish I could, but it's not announced.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a huge brand, and they're coming to Toronto, and I was actually asked for by name, so I'm really honored. And that's in October, but it's not announced. But I will keep you updated. I'll shoot you a message when that comes down.
Check those
Um,
socials.
yeah, but I just forgot for past gigs. Something really life changing was that I got to do a headliner mix on the BBC this year and a Radio One Dance with He She They label. So I got to submit like an hour-long mix, and or actually it was a 30-minute headline mix in within a 2-hour show, and that got broadcast on the BBC Radio One Dance, which is really big for any Canadian artist, any artist really, but for
Yeah.
Canadian artists, not even British, to get on the BBC Radio One. Um, it was a big deal as a headliner, so that was exciting with He She They Records. And so coming down the pipe, well, on next Thursday, I'm spinning in Croatia, which is always exciting. In Tisno, there's the Defected Croatia Music Festival, and there's kind of like an opening beach bar set, and I'm doing that. It's not affiliated with the festival, but a lot of people come out, and it's really fun. And after that is Austria, Vienna. There's like open air kind of patio vibe. And then at the end of the month, I'll be playing in Nova Scotia. There's a cool electronic music festival called Electric Pines, and it's a camping festival. But I've always been really fascinated and interested in this festival, and now I get to go play. And they have Bad Boy Bill as a headliner, and like, oh, there's just like so many big names and fun people on that. I am really excited about it. It's really exciting.
I- I'm a huge fan of the more of the camping festivals than I am the all inclusive, you're stuck inside festivals because you really get a sense of you're in the whole thing. Everyone's in the whole thing. It's like I'm glamping over here and everyone just has a badge to get in. and then they're stuck in or can't get out unless you have VIP. You can go in out back to your parking spot, which is usually a 2 hour walk. Anyways, I'm
Wow.
not knocking any big festivals, but I went to EDC, and if we didn't have VIP to EDC, we were locked into that event all day. But with VIP and where we got to park, we could come right in and out of the VIP access and not have to go through the whole snake line to get
Yeah.
in, or I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to toot a horn. I get a lot of media clearance to events, so we're usually there early to set
Yeah.
up, and we got our press badges or all access badges on, which is nice. But
Yeah.
I just going to those all inclusive campings. I went to the Eclipse Festival in 17. I know that's so like 8 years ago. I just saw Facebook pop up with my friends that I met during that year, and I'm like, that was 8 years ago. Wow! But
Wow.
that was my first kind of experience of being out of. I've never been to Burning Man, but they said this is a lot like Burning Man, and a lot of burner culture was there as well, which is awesome. And it was just nice because you could go out, see a set, come back to your RV, your tent, your campground.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the RV. I was in a tent. I didn't get a glam, but we had an RV that we rode there in. But that being said, is like having that freedom to come and go, and you're not. I'm not trying to knock the corporates because I don't want to knock any sponsors out of my ranks, but paying if you're buying a bottle of water and it's $10 for a bottle of water, $8 for a bottle of water,
Yeah, the whole commercial music festival thing is pretty out of control. But I mean,
yeah,
I was at Miami Loveburn in I think 2 years ago. Yeah, I played like a lot of stages there. It was really fun. But it was pretty rugged. Like, whoa, there was no glamping. And that was the regional burn for Miami, Florida.
yep.
But and that was I've never been to a Burning Man, but that was the closest I've been to a Burning Man, and it was like, yeah, I think everyone was just one with the people, like there was no VIP, and it was pretty rugged as a camping festival.
They
But
know how to live in the desert for a week, so they got it
yeah, it's
down.
not like so brutal. Like I'm
Yeah.
actually not a huge camper, but at in Halifax, this festival coming up, they've set up like a kind of a VIP tenting situation for the artists. So you don't have to bring everything. You can just go and like you have your sleeping bag and your air mattress and all the things. So I'm
Nice.
really excited about that. Every year I go to Defected Croatia in Tisno, and I feel like it's almost like professional development. I get to see the artists playing. What are they playing now? We go on some boat cruises. It's beautiful location. It's lovely, friendly people. So I did that one last year. The year before, I did Defected Malta, and they were just really it's good to see like on a global scale, or maybe on a European scale, or even
Hmm.
if defected maybe on a British scale, but like what is happening, like what are they playing, and what it looks like to be on a big stage, like at these festivals. You have to see it so you can visualize it for yourself.
Hmm. I think going to that when you say going out there and visualizing, seeing other cultures, other music, even from an audience standpoint of standing in the audience. But I think one of the biggest benefits that I've seen of going out there as being this side of the industry is going to the place. I mean, Winter Music Conference in 2009 was one of the first things that kind of kicked off. My brain went. Our show used to be called ITV NW, was a broadcast television show, or ITV Northwest. And when I'm in Miami at the time, I would say my tagline was always where we feature the best from the Pacific Northwest. I realized really quickly in Miami, I couldn't say Northwest if I'm in Miami. We're not featuring the best. So I changed NW to, it stood for network. So the ITV network. And after that, I kind of opened my mind because I was meeting so many people from around the world at Winter Music Conference, and then set the wake clock forward to 2023, 2022. Um, I went to ADE, and just the networking opportunity of people from around the world there. I still want to make it out to Sonar. I know there's a number of these events and festivals I want to need to, that I love going to, and just the things alone, like sitting in a room and Carl Cox is 30 feet away from you, and you're in a room with 200 people, and he's talking about how he's developing himself over again. Here's the new thing you're going to see from me moving forward, and nobody in the world is seeing that because it's not broadcast live anywhere. It's just this insights that you can get, and how beneficial that can be, and the networking opportunities as well. I think is huge.
Yeah, like I think I was at ADE in 2023. Like I got the Tong DJ Academy Future Talent Award in
Mm-hmm.
2023. And I think I went to ADE and Brighton Music Conference. And at Brighton Music Conference, I actually was like this close away from Carl Cox doing his set in the i360. Actually, I'm front row in that video that was viral. Like millions of people have viewed it on Beatport because Beatport live streamed it, and people were messaging me for like months and months and months. Is that you in the front row? It's like that's me in the front row, like full on up close. And I got to talk to and meet so many people at those conferences, both in Amsterdam and in Brighton. And it's a game changer because you really can then start a relationship with these people, and you can hit them up on socials and be like, I met you in Amsterdam, and like maybe we can collaborate, or like here's my track, or like I'm going to come to your gig when I go to like, wherever, or they're like, what's popping in Toronto, it's
And
very.
again, it's the investment of one's time, like you said, going back and reading those books, reading those manuals, learning, doing the back end research, and that is part of. If you saved up all year long, I'd say not only is Amsterdam a beautiful city to go to, I'm not trying to be partial to it, but just even if it go regionally, if something's happening, if I'm in Seattle, something's happening in San Francisco or LA, go there, find out what these are. If South by Southwest, if you're going
Oh
to
yeah,
Austin,
South by Southwest, and like those things are so important. I do
it's
have to say,
huge.
like, coming up, I almost forgot, but I am going to Ibiza again for like the fourth time. I'm doing this. No, it's actually the third time. I'm doing this thing called Orbit DJ Retreat. It's a DJ and production retreat. So you go there for a week, everything's included, and you are at this villa in Ibiza, and you get your tracks like deconstructed and feedback and like mixing, mastering like techniques, and elevated DJ skills workshops. And then at the end of it, you get all this mentorship. They redo your bio, they do a photo shoot, and at the end of it, you will play in Ibiza. And it's just the people that I've met there coming from all over the world to make themselves, a better kind of artist entrepreneur. It's been invaluable. Like now
Yeah.
I went to Fiji and played on this crazy floating bar in the middle of the Pacific Ocean because of that. Like I played like with Breakbot and played like just all over, basically all over the world. I've met different people that I met at these retreats. And again, it's professional development.
Yeah.
You invest in it and you come back like inspired, having met people that are like-minded, pushing their career forward, excited,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing. So yeah, investing in yourself. You don't have to go to a crazy expensive retreat in Ibiza. Like, I'm this is what I'm doing, but not everybody can do that, and I couldn't do that maybe 5 years ago, but something regional,
Mhm.
local, something online, something.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. That energy, that feeling you come back with connecting with people in real time, especially after Pandy went down, seeing people in 2022 shaking hands, like they were so happy to see people because they weren't on Zooms
Yeah,
anymore. And they're like, I was producing
100%.
tracks you halfway around the world or here, and and the discussions that would happen were just so cool, and there was a lot of energy of people getting back to normal, if that's what
Yeah,
they
it's
want to
definitely
call it.
the energy that keeps you going. And it's I think music is just energy to me. Music is
Mhm.
energy and emotion, and it needs to be fed from many different sources, and definitely other people is a huge source.
Mhm. And if there's something you could say or like to say to new and up and coming producer, DJ slash producers to watch out for when it comes to making their career successful, what's the one piece of advice that comes to your mind to say, look out for this, or I would suggest doing this? What do you think would be the most crucial thing that piece of advice you could give to them?
I know everybody just always says be authentic, be authentic, be authentic, but I think it's about, I would say, watch out for becoming too narrow. I mean, like, I used to be so narrow. Like, I thought I had to listen to just the coolest underground music, and everything else sucked shit. And I had to look a certain way and do a certain thing. And it was almost like high school, like a clique. Like, you can only do that. And you can't, if you don't have the right backpack, like, you suck and you're out of the group. I feel like I want to say to the young people up and coming, just enjoy the process and be open to everything. Like, who cares if you like hip hop, screamo, and drum and bass. Like, who cares? You're supposed to be just like crashing through it all and feeling it all and doing it all right now. And I feel like people get too caught up in their image on socials and what they're doing and what they're looking like and what they're listening to. I think it's very freeing to do everything.
Mhm.
Like, I get you have to have, your brand has to have a story and all this shit, but there's a lot of stuff that you need to receive before you can start putting out this message. So don't start putting out the message until you've received all the influences, and that's how you figure out who you are, and then you go forward. These young kids are just like trying to tell everybody that they're on this mission to do what. Okay, maybe, but like, what's behind it? Tell me a story, and you have to build a story. It doesn't just happen.
Mhm.
So be open, get all the influences, and then maybe focus on cutting back and saying, okay, I'm not playing psychobilly in my set. I'm just going to play a house set. But like today, I've been spinning for so many years, and say with DJing, there'll be times when I'll just look at the crowd and be like, they need something different. I'll just drop some crazy thing and they'll be like, what? And the whole place will light up and they'll be like, that's a brilliant fucking DJ. Because they just told you what you were going to have and you loved it. And you don't just have to play like German techno all night long. It's just like, lighten up, guys. Have fun. Have fun. We're playing
Y-
other people's records. Like, have fun. That's
You
why my
said
name is Cozmic Cat. It's a fun name. It
you said
reminds.
German techno, right? It was funny when I was in Germany last year for Raid the Planet that
Is there any other kind except Detroit techno?
yeah, right. Well, one, but then I was like, yeah, you're gonna see there's like 300 nightclubs in Berlin. 298 of them are gonna play techno music on any given night. And luckily, where I was at, I was like a block down. I was staying at the Enhau Hotel there, beautiful little boutique hotel, awesome place, and the theme there is amazing. But about a block and a half away was a club that was actually had a house night, and I was like,
Stop.
yes. And
Yes.
didn't know who the DJs were, but it was really a cool little club. The way it was laid out, really awesome, and got to hear house music in in Berlin. Yeah, it was awesome. You
I
know,
think like it's interesting, and you think like everyone will be so free, and everybody's like open, and the internet, and AI, and like freedom, and then sometimes the younger generation is so rigid. They're just like, I'm only gonna listen to like this kind of Afrobeat, and that's it. And I get you're searching for an identity and all that, but yeah, I just wish that people could just be a bit more free.
well, you speak of identity. I got into electronic music. I mean, dance clubs, nightclubs like that, electronic music in 1992. And this is, I was going to nightclubs, but they were playing top 40 music. I mean, that was just like, the
Yeah.
top 40 hip hop or top 40 pop music was what the nightclubs were playing when I was 15, 16 years old. And I got exposed to rave culture at 18 years old. And, in the music store that I worked in, there was a very limited electronic music section. And I remember like Kyoki had a disc, a mixed compilation in there. I think Tiesto maybe Tiesto was around. I don't think Tiesto was around at that time, but it was like a lot of mixed compilations with tracks on them on CDs, but a very finite selection, maybe like 30, 40. And this is at Warehouse Records, one of the biggest retail chain stores in the world. Even Tower Records had a very limited electronic music section, but
It was usually like Head Candy or like Buddha Bar, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Cafe
yeah, it wasn't, and it
Bar,
was like,
that kind of
you know,
curated selection of like random European.
unless you went to the record store and bought vinyl and brought the vinyl back home, you weren't
Exactly.
getting that on CDs and pressed in the mainstream record
Yeah,
stores.
it's
Uh,
true.
and so, the only way we would get experience in this music would be when you say brand your identity would be to go out to these underground parties, the raves or the clubs, because electronic music was not a big thing in the 90s in
No,
Seattle,
it
Washington.
kind of peaked in Toronto in '95. There was a huge rave scene in Toronto. I wasn't here for it, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I know that it was pretty legendary. There was a lot of massive raves that were
Mm-hmm.
complete location. Nobody knew the location. You bust in, and they had like deep dish and like, I don't know, rich. I don't even know, like huge, huge people playing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a whole scene.
Yeah, but then you couldn't really get that music on the local radio station either, and the
Oh no.
internet was non-existent. I mean,
No.
it was there, but not in the way it is now. And so,
Yeah.
we looked forward to going out to those events because it'd be something new, and we dress up for it like candy
Mhm.
kids and like, whoa, look at us, like New York style party monster shit,
Yeah, like
you
club
know.
kids.
But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up a little bit here. What do you what after all this music and business and all that other stuff? I know we talked about it earlier a little bit in the show that getting out and taking a break and putting your feet in the grass and talking with people in real world experience, not real world experiences, other world
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
What do you prefer doing the most when you're taking a break from all this music industry business stuff?
Oh, when I'm taking a break, I just love to be near water. I just love to, like, ideally would be walking on a beach or like going down to the lake. We have a lot of lakes in Ontario, so there's always lakes. But just it's nature, going with nature.
Hmm.
I do like riding motorcycles. I like animals. So I don't know. I just like to commune with, like, we're on this planet for how many years we don't know, but it's not just us. It's also the animals, the birds, the trees, the water, the moon, the stars. I like connecting with that because that's seriously real, and it's also seriously cosmic. So yeah, you got to. It's not just all in the digital realm. It's not all in like bleeps and bloops in the computer or in a nightclub with like machines. It's real. It's real connections with real people, real energies, real frequencies. Um, yeah, fresh air. I'm outside right now. It's summer. Yeah.
It was very interesting. You said very cosmic. I get the play there, but I've always wanted to go out into the middle of the desert when there's no city lights, no city light pollution, and really see those images that you see the photographs of like the Milky Way galaxy and stuff.
Oh, like a dark sky reserve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like
just like
wherever is close,
whoa.
wherever is like for you and your part of the planet, whatever is natural. Like some it's deserts, some it's oceans, some it's like mountains, some it's jungles. For me in Ontario, it's a lot like upstate New York here. There's a lot of lakes and forests and ravines. So there's a lot of green. We don't have deserts, but
Yeah, just I would say using desert as like middle of nowhere. Like
100%.
you know,
The
um,
stars, like seeing that. I will see that way up north, and you'll see it like where there's away from all the cities. It's like, and you're just like, I can't believe there's so many stars, and it's actually supposed to look like that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like you said, connecting with that cosmic energy is this like I think is huge, and to me it gives me hope. When I
Yeah,
think of that, it's like there's no
it's
way
like
we're alone. I'm not going to get any philosophical debates, but
it's
there's
very
no
humbling.
way.
Perspective, right? It's
you know,
perspective where you're like, God, all my little worries and stresses and
and
like anxieties, like look at this shit. Like this shit's going on millions of years after. I'm just a little blip, you know.
and
And what am I gonna do in my time on the timeline, you know?
and I do truly believe that music is universal. It's like a universal language that even from a humanity standpoint, especially with electronic music, you're not necessarily always being fed with lyrics or imagery. If you're listening to an electronic music song, that person cannot speak a word of English. That person cannot speak a word of Japanese or a word
Yep.
of whatever the language is. Not zero, but we're still listening to that same exact electronic music song. We know what the drop is. We know where the enthusiasm. We know where the excitement is, and we're
Yep.
bonding at that level. And there's it's like whoa, we're all having a
It's a
communal
great
experience.
feeling. It's like you don't need words when you have music,
Exactly.
you know? It's just music is definitely magic. Saved my life, saved a million people's lives. Just,
Yeah.
you know, feeling there's nobody or nothing, and then you hear this song or you feel this music and you're like, okay, I can get through this, or sharing a song with a friend, or now making a song and sharing that with people. Like there is
Mhm.
no feeling. Like even when I was saying at Electric Island, that was the biggest crowd I've ever had, and I felt so high and energized. But there's nothing like creating your own song and getting that and realizing that you made that and that
Mhm.
you're going to potentially share that with people in a club or in people's earbuds. It's even better than that feeling of being in front of all those people because that
Mhm.
will be there when you're dead. That will be there when that gig is forgotten. Those
Mhm.
songs will be still there. It's a legacy.
That's kind of funny you bring that up. It's one of the reasons why taking this into my own hands and not putting it on YouTube or something that could go away, but having it on my own platform, and it's like people can come back years later and be like, where does that exist? You have to go to our website to watch that.
Smart.
It's not there. It's not there. It's not there.
Yeah,
That
we
will
all
go
saw
away.
TikTok go down.
We,
I mean, it came back, but like it went down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you got to look at music rights and how if that all evolves and where that can go. And you know, I got all my propers, all my contract, all my stuff's legit. But
All
we
right.
go.
Well, if
It's a
you're
whole
looking
nother
for
episode. I
music,
tell
if
people.
you're looking for music to sync, we can talk.
Yeah, right. So a couple last questions here though. If somebody were to write a biography about you, what do you think the title should be?
She's cosmic.
She's cosmic. All right.
That's
She's
it.
cosmic.
That's it.
Dope. I'm sold. I'm probably gonna be the first one to read it. First one to buy it. First one to
She's
digitally
truly
download it. First one
cosmic.
to get it at Amazon
She's
bookstore.
truly, truly cosmic.
Cosmic. Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to let our DJ sessions fans let them know before we let you get going?
No. I don't know, just your support and your likes and shares and plays. It does change DJ's trajectory of their career is more important than So, follow me on all the platforms, check out my website, join my mailing list. But also, thank you to the DJ sessions for reaching out and making this
You're
time
welcome.
and this platform. I'm very grateful, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Darren. And I really respect what you're doing and how hard you're working.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me.
Yeah, and we'll be following. We like to follow up with all our artists. I know I took that like 8.5 month hiatus and was like, I'm off the planet. After I went to rave the planet, I'm off the planet. I'm out of the reservation right now. But I'm back. We're back in full effect. New toys, new stuff coming out of the DJ sessions. And that is your website, djcosmic.com, down there at the bottom. Thank you again for coming back on the show. We're going to stay in touch with you. Like I said, always got something going on over here. And I know you got tons of stuff coming up. So it's always getting you in front of our fans is always a pleasure. And thanks for coming on the show today.
All right. Bless up. Bless up. Big ups from Toronto.
Thank you. On that note, don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Check us out. There we have so much going on over there. We got over 700 news stories a month, live interviews happening, exclusive mixes. We're launching a new music section. You can download our app. We have virtual reality nightclubs, big stuff happening in there. We're really excited for that. But all of that information and more, our store where you can donate, get some cool fly gear. We're going to be updating that soon as well. Get some more products to you so you can rep the DJ sessions. But all of that and more at thedjsessions.com. Take a picture of it with your QR code right there, website there. And yeah, that's our show for the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host, Darren. That's Cozmic Cat coming in from Toronto, Canada. I'm in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington. And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.